Welcome, everyone, to Forecast Reality Reviews, the show where we talk about all of your favorite reality shows. I am Castform Lover, otherwise known as Cass, and of course, joining me is a fellow lover of reality shows, the wonderful good cat, Richie. Rich, welcome.
Cass, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. As Cass said, my name is Richie. I go by Good Cat in the online world. I am a self proclaimed expert in all things reality, whether it's Survivor, Big Brother, Sequester, The Mole, The Genius, anything involving strategy or reality TV, I'm there. So, that's why you have me tonight. Cass, I very much appreciate again you having me on, and I'm looking forward to diving into some Survivor Rebels versus Titans.
I know it is. This is so exciting. Rich, of course, will be my co-host throughout this entire series while we review Australian Survivor Titans versus Rebels. What a first week we had!
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I am, obviously from the United States, and Survivor Australia, the players bring it. They are there to play. Nobody is there for the journey or just the experience. They're there to win, and I that is the type of Survivor I love. This first episode was action packed. Everyone was firing on all cylinders, and we had some blunders, some hiccups, some great plays on both sides, and I'm very excited to dive into this with you.
Yeah. So, before we begin, Rich, I want to ask, what is your history first of Australian Survivor? Like, where did you first start watching?
Sir, Australian Survivor. I would say maybe like 7 years ago or 8 years ago, around that time. I jumped in. The first season that I watched live in real time was it was All Stars, the one the Golden God David had won.
Oh, good God,
And
All
then
Stars, the worst season.
and after that, I obviously went back and watched the previous ones, but I've been up to date with Australian Survivor and South Africa since around 7-8 years ago, I would say. But my origins are with Richard Hatch in Borneo, so many years ago, Survivor One US. But as far as the foreign counterparts, yeah, I would say about 7-8 years ago is when I kind of got into it.
Okay, yeah, because my journey with Survivor actually started with Australian Survivor back in 2016 when our first season aired. I was only a casual viewer because like it was on like 3 nights a week and I would watch it. But honestly, it was about time at the it was about the post swap when I first got into it, and I fell in love with Phoebe. Like that, like
Oh,
she was the
Phoebe!
best of that season, and Deva when she was voted out. But that was kind of when I stopped. I watched like 3 episodes, and then I'm like, okay, I need to find more of this. I found the very first Australian Survivor back in early 2000s, the really dodgy one that no one talks about. None of us talk about it because it was actually hot garbage. But I got back into it in 2017. But I found Blood versus Water on the internet on YouTube, so I watched through that, and it was all right. It's not my favorite season. It's not a bad season, but not one of my favorites. And then I became more of a hardcore Survivor fan about in 2018 with Champions versus Contenders. And then in 2020, there were 16 seasons of U.S. Survivor that was put on to 10 play. So I watched for that. There was Borneo, the Amazon, Pearl Islands, and All Stars were the ones that I watched. Mostly during COVID, and then I watched a couple other seasons, Palau, which I'm not a fan of, Cook Islands. Micronesia, I actually have also seen before this. I found that on YouTube as well. So I watched all through Micronesia, and it became my favorite season because my favorite one. I really liked Parvati in this season, and she has become my favorite American Survivor player.
Oh yeah, Parvati and the Black Widow Brigade brought Survivor back again. That fans versus favorites season was one of the better U.S. seasons, I would say.
I know everyone.
In the
Yeah, I know everyone says that Heroes versus Villains is the best U.S. season. I disagree to that personally. I think it's Micronesia.
Yeah, Micronesia was very well done. It has some of the biggest moments in Survivor history.
Ozzy blindsided with that idol, Jason blindsided right afterwards. And
Yeah,
not to
the
mention
ladies were
Eric
there.
giving up immunity, being suckered by those women will
Yeah.
forever go down as the dumbest Survivor move ever.
The ladies were certainly there to bring it, and I was so looking forward to fans versus favorites too. The cast was pretty good, and that season just tanked compared to the first one. Like, don't get me wrong, I love John Cochran's, story about basically being a terrible player in his season and then coming back and basically turning it all around. I do think that the casting choices to bring back.
There were some questionable choices. Like, why did they bring back Philip and Francesca, for example? Like, the only real favorites I'd say were Malcolm and Eric and maybe Brenda. And Cochran and Dawn were nice. Like, I know a lot of people hate Dawn, but I am not one of them. I love Dawn. Like, she is one of my favorites.
No, I love Dawn too. But I think that they brought Dawn and Brandon back with Cochran because everybody else in his original season really didn't like him much. But Brandon kind of had that protective, older brother vibe going on with Cochran. And Dawn understood Cochran because they're both, underdogs and, very unlikely to win.
And like they're both really close.
Amazing.
I know I've heard that Dawn is still apparently really close with Cochran, and the reason why she wouldn't want to play Survivor again, obviously from the trauma that she got after the season, but even then, there's no way she could have topped Cara Moen because of the fact she got to the end with her best friend.
Yeah. Very unlikely. I guarantee not a lot of people predicted that those final contestants being at the end in that season. A lot of the bigger names went out before the merge or right after the merge. So
yeah.
It was kind of surprising how the diversity between fans versus favorites 1 and 2, kind of played out. But I definitely am on board with the idea that Micronesia is one of the best U.S. seasons, and that's a very hot take saying that it's better than Heroes versus Villains.
It definitely is. However, it definitely is a hot take. However, again, this is just my opinion though. Everyone's right to their own opinions, but we've gotten way off track as I was talking about my origin with Survivor. So I dropped off it with Champions versus Contenders 2 and All Stars. Champions vs. Contenders 2 was in a very dark year for me. I was working a traineeship that I absolutely hated, and I just wasn't having fun watching it, so I stopped. And then All Stars was just so painfully boring, and I really do not like David. I've said this too many times. I do not like David. He's my least favorite winner. I'm not trying to discredit his game, though. He did play a good game. I am not discrediting that at all. But I don't like when cocky assholes win the game.
Yeah, very true. I am a true rooter of the underdog. What I will say about that season, I loved the secret relationship that David and Matt Rogers had because David was basically running one side and Matt Rogers was running the other. and
Definitely, yeah, that's definitely true. That is definitely true.
yeah,
So
that was so
yeah,
cool to see them kind of come together like that, and
yeah,
you
but
know,
yeah,
it worked out for David.
yeah, it didn't work out for Matt. But can we talk about some good seasons now? Because I'm gonna finish up this so we can get talking about Titans versus Rebels. I
Yeah,
came
yeah,
back
of
to
course.
survive. I came back with Brains versus Brawn. What a season that was! Wei is one of my favorite survivors from first boot to fifth place. What a season! George's entertainment gold. His relationship with Kara was amazing, and the Emmett blindside is one of my favorite Survivor moves ever. Then I watched Blood versus Water because Sandra was on it, and I know a lot of people don't like Blood versus Water, but I really do. Because like Mark and Sam, I loved them back in 2017, and it was so fun watching them run the game together. No one has played the Blood versus Water theme better than Mark and Sam. And then of course Heroes versus Villains. My winner's pick actually won the season in Liz. And oh, what a
Oh,
season Heroes versus Villains was.
best Survivor season in recent history that I could think of.
Most definitely.
Whether it be U.S., Australia, and South Africa, Heroes versus Villains was very entertaining. The first off, I have to totally agree with you. I am in love with Wei. Wei, if you're listening to this, I love your cats. I'm a cat guy. I have 4 cats. Like, I love the way she played. She's so sweet, and I loved her also. She would definitely be either one or in the top 3 of my favorite Australian Survivor players
I also
ever.
kind of
Love
like her
Wei.
love-hate relationship with George. Like
Yeah.
they kind of went back and forward as like friends and enemies, but like Wei and George always reconnected at some point. Didn't matter what was going on, they always reconnected until George voted her out. But even then he helped her in that
Yeah.
challenge.
That season was very not controversial, but
Some people do say it's
the reviews
controversial.
that it got. Yeah, the reviews it got were similar to U.S. Edge of Extinction, because of the fact that Haley, the winner, was voted out of the game, and then I
I'd rather not
got
talk
back
about
into
Haley right now. That's a video for another
it.
day. That don't
Yeah.
get me
Oh my God,
started
that
on
girl!
that.
Every season she's been on, she looks like she goes out there and rolls around in dirt. Like the very first day, her clothes get like so dirty so fast, and I do not know why.
I mean, they are sleep. I mean, in Australia, they were literally sleeping in the dirt. But and then
I
finally,
don't
of course, you
think
and I
so.
both watched UK Survivor, and I think we can both have a agreed opinion that it was a bit of a lackluster season.
Very, very much so. I think that Christopher would, if he would have played the game that if he would have played the game that he played in a US version, I think that he would have been received much differently,
I agree. I did
than
not like
than
Christopher.
what he was.
I did not like Christopher. However, I can't deny he was one of after Tanuke, he was the best game player.
Yeah, yeah, he was there to play and to win, and like when I watch Survivor, I root for the people that are there to win and will pretty much do whatever at any cost to win.
Yeah, and then of
I get
course,
that people go there for the journey and the
yeah,
experience,
I'm
but
so sick of I am so sick of listening to that. Another reason why I've stopped watching U.S. Survivor, because like I get they're trying to get some diversity in their cast, but they're not bringing in actual players. These people are there for a journey. They're not there to play the game of Survivor, and I am so sick of it.
yeah, me too. And that's why I really loved the last season of Australian Survivor Heroes versus Villains. I think that Liz was 100% there to win, and she got it done. So, like that to me is the embodiment of what Survivor is about.
And she
You
took
go out
down the
there with a
king.
mission.
She took
Yeah,
down
she
King
did. She
George.
played.
The only person
She
to
took
ever
out the
vote
king.
him out. I mean, yeah, Matt and Jerry voted George too, but let's be honest, that was Liz's move.
Yeah, I agree. agree with that. She took down George. I mean, it would have been foolish to go with him the final tribal council. So I kind of
Especially
feel
when
like, it
her
was
whole
a
thing was
no-brainer.
revenge
But
for Shawnee. Her whole thing was revenge for Shawnee. She couldn't
yeah,
go to the
and
end with
she
George.
sure got it.
She did. And then, of course, you and I, going back to UK Survivor, we both love Leilani.
Oh
Best.
my God, I
Only
think
thing
this
that
was just
kept me
gonna go
watching
by
that
incredibly
season.
quickly.
Leilani was the only thing
I'm sorry,
keeping.
what did you say?
Leilani was the only thing keeping me watching that season.
Yeah, and she wasn't too she was easy on the eyes too. Like she was a very pretty lady, so
You dog!
I was definitely I was definitely into Leilani. She played a very under the radar, stealthy game. Was never really targeted by anybody.
I mean, other than the very
And like
first
that's the
couple
thing.
of days, and then apparently Lee was on her ass, but like that didn't last long.
Yeah, it kind of fizzled out. But like that's the great thing about Survivor is
It's the
um
parabolic women because if like women get targeted early, but when they get to the merge, they band together. At least in Australian Survivor, they band together to kick out all the big men. It's
well,
another thing.
yeah,
Like go back to Micronesia, the women banded together and took out all the men.
yeah, and that's the great thing about Survivor is literally anybody can win. You don't have to be physically fit specimen. You don't have to be the most intelligent person.
Like
A lot of the game does involve a little bit of luck,
yeah, like I
but
know that.
realistically,
Yeah, I.
anybody
Sorry, go on. Go on.
excuse me. No, I was just saying realistically anybody can win the game.
That is
It's
100%
not
true. That's the allure of
it's not like a
Survivor.
football game where the better team, a professional team is always going to beat an amateur team. It doesn't matter if you're a professional lawyer or you don't have a job, or if you're a guy or a girl, anybody could win. And like I that's what I really like about Survivor is the diversity of the casting, the people that they choose, how they come together, who bonds with who, and then
Yeah.
ultimately who ends up on top. Which I
But
would love to get into Rebels versus Titans
yeah,
and
I
kind of
will say
dive
one more.
into.
Yeah, I will say one more thing though. Like I know Australian Survivor, we prioritize physicality because our challenges are freaking huge. However, again, it comes back down to because if a bunch of women can get themselves through to the merge, like our records speak for themselves. 5 out of 8 Australian Survivor winners have been female.
That's right. And my winner pick for this season is a female, so we could get into that shortly. But
I
I
definitely agree.
definitely I am on the side that a woman will win this season. So yeah, we'll definitely get into it. And yeah, looking forward to it. This season was a very publicized and talked about for a while and hyped up, and it's finally here.
Yeah, and like
2024.
it was supposed to be released on the 5th of February, but then the first Blind Side was released on the 29th of January instead.
Yeah, so already the season is dishing us out with surprises and twists. So I'm here for it.
Actually, speaking of twists, did you notice there's no advantages at the start? Like we usually have a day one advantage. Like George found that advantage he could take 6 people out tribal council. There was that idol in Blood versus Water that was on the podium that 2 people got clues for they wrestled for. All Stars also had an idol that was hidden at tribal council that could be played at the first free tribal councils. There was nothing like that
Yeah,
this season. It was pure gameplay. They just let the players play.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the one they are really letting them play. That's the one thing I love about Australian Survivor is I love 2 tribes with more players in it. I don't like 3 tribes of 6. I think that's
Few,
too
definitely too
hinky.
few. It's and not to mention, as I said, the problem with US survivors become repetitive and boring to watch. So, because even some American Survivor players like Rob Cesternino, who's one of the most influential when it comes to podcasting, he has literally said he prefers Australian Survivor to American, and he's played American Survivor. Granted, that
Yeah,
was a
well,
decade ago, but
I think that they just do a better job with casting. They cast people that are there and want to win, and the strategy's better. The challenges are far better and superior to lately the U.S. challenges. I've not liked at all. Like I
mm,
would rather them just scrub that and go back to the test of will challenges where it's like you stand up on a pole for
I
16 hours
know I
until
love endurance
like
challenges.
I'd rather have that.
Yeah, I love endurance challenges because it really shows who wants it more. Like one of my favorites is that one where they hold a bucket of water over their head that Parvati won twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what challenge you're talking about. But yes, it doesn't seem like in the U.S. that they really like test their will to win anymore.
I think it's because
It,
after Palau, when they had like a 12-hour final endurance challenge, that was kind of when they stopped doing them.
yeah. But I still love how Australian Survivor kind of incorporates that in the end game. Usually, the final three challenge
Yes, it is.
is
We still have
some
a
type
final endurance
of
challenge, like Christy, Lee, and Elle holding on to that idol with those wooden slats sticking into their feet. That same challenge that was then done in season 2, but at night. I don't know what champions versus contenders or all stars did. But then Brains versus Brawn had like that torture chamber. And then heroes
yeah,
versus villains, Liz, Matt, Jerry, and George having to be in that torture thing while Jonathan digs spikes into their backs.
yeah, that was. I mean, I love it. I wish that they would do that on US. I think that challenge, what's it called? Synchronic or dang, I'll think of it in a second. But it's the one where you drop the ball in and you have your hand behind your back, and then it switches sides, and you have to keep taking the ball
Oh,
that's rolling down the.
I know which one you're talking about. It was the one
Yeah. Oh,
because he was in Winners
Samotion.
at War and a few other seasons as well.
Yeah, it's called Samotion, is what it's called. And like,
Ah,
I don't like that as a final challenge because like, if you remember, Romeo won. I mean,
I didn't
Romeo
watch.
won that
I
challenge.
didn't
Only
watch.
challenge he won all.
I never. I haven't watched any New Era Survivor seasons other than
Oh,
41
okay.
and a bit of
Yeah,
42.
but they're still. Yeah, they scrapped the whole endurance thing for US as a final challenge now. It's
Way back in
usually.
Palau. That was when it was scrapped. Way back in Palau,
I know.
season 10.
Yeah, very long ago. But I love the fact that the Aussies still incorporate that because it really shows
It's a
who's on
test
it,
of
who
will.
wants it at the.
It's a real test of
Yeah.
will. And literally, Liz, in her deep dive, stated that the only way she was getting down from that is if she had fainted. That was the only way she was getting down from there because she needed that immunity, and she got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get
Yep.
back to Titans versus Rebels. we keep
All
go-
right. Let's do it.
we keep
I'm
going on
excited.
tangents. So the opening premiere. I think this opening has been one of our best, and we had Sandra flying in on a helicopter in Blood versus Water. This was a great opening, like the Titans on that barge and the 4 rebel ships circling around them like sharks.
They did. I love how they do it. They make it feel like it's like a cinematic, presentation, like you're at the movies or something. It doesn't feel like a TV show when you first pop it on, and they just have great intros for the players. The music is excellent. It just like really draws you in to what you're watching and like get you excited about it. And I think that they did. I agree. This intro was super fire. The barge with all the Titans on it looking around, and then the rebel ships pulling up and them taunting each other back and forth. Like I thought that was very, very well done.
That was hilarious. Watching them taunt each other. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And then yeah, they all do their little intros and then they basically get right into it.
This is the most
and
intros we've
start
seen
with
in an opening, because usually they introduce them very slowly, like you're only free an episode. There was like I think 10 in the first episode. So I really enjoyed
there was
that.
quite a few.
Because I really enjoyed that, because in the past you can kind of know whose time is coming to an end soon, given whose intros they show. I mean, that's not always the case. Like, Liz got hers, I think, in episode 3 of Heroes vs. Villains, and she went on to win. But yeah, you can generally tell from that, but this time we're completely in the dark. The editors are doing their best to make sure we, as the audience, don't know who is going home that episode until it finally happens.
Yeah, I think people, as time went on, people started to realize that Survivor production had kind of a like a repetitive code of when they like in the U.S. Survivor, it used to be only the people that got like opening intros, like Matt Chat, quote unquote, where Jeff would ask them who they were and where they're from, like in the very beginning, and they showed it. Only those people were actually eligible to go on and win the game.
Yeah, because
They kind of did away with that.
yeah, because an interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure they would have asked a lot more questions, but of course, I mean, they're editing a 1 hour TV show. They can't show everything, so there's obviously a lot of stuff we do miss. So I'm pretty sure. So they're only going to show a handful. But let's get into the first reward challenge. What did you think of this reward challenge? Because we kind of seen challenges like this in the past. Like All Stars had a challenge similar to this, where like they had to like
It was
burn.
funny to see the tight. Yeah, it was funny to see that they abandoned their strategy of like a line.
It was a bad strategy to begin with, though, because if you look at it, the Rebels are getting supplies way faster than what the Titans are. It was not a good strategy to start with.
Yeah, no, definitely not. They were for sure all over the.
Okay, what happened there? Are you still there? Oh, yeah, what happened there? I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, sorry, you couldn't hear me?
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything of that.
Oh, okay, sorry, I must have got bad service. I said Nathan, happens to get his fire first, but instead of holding on to it and waiting until the structure is built up, he just throws it right in there and catches it on fire before they even
Yeah, it
were
really
ready
was.
for it.
Yeah, like the Titans were a mess this challenge from start to finish, from their bad assembly line strategy to Nathan literally throwing in the fire when they're literally saying they are not ready for it. Meanwhile, the Rebels are working together as a tribe. The thing I find interesting, and Jonathan says it in the episode, is with the Titans, there are too many cooks and no one else is willing to do the grunt work. Like, this is what happens when you have a group of leaders together. No one wants to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody thinks that their opinion is the right one. And we kind of see this play out. The Rebels work in unison, to achieve a common goal to take down the Titans. And, the thing about a Rebel, which, like, if I was playing this game, I feel like I would be in the Rebel tribe.
Same.
The thing about a Rebel is we don't care if it's our idea or someone else's idea. We just want to get it done.
That's definitely the truth. Like Rebel, what I've kind of gotten is Titans, like they're the ones that set the rules. Rebels, they play by their own rules. Like, will a group of leaders be able to come together and like, will a group of leaders come together and be able like to crush this opposing force, or will the Rebels be stick it to the man by playing their own game?
Yeah. We'll see. I think once maybe some swaps happen or merge happens, that we will probably end up with a blended group of some of both. But as time goes on, more will be revealed. But I think that once we get to the end game, I don't foresee it being, it's going to be four
kind of like what's
Titans
been in the
left to four
past
Rebels
with
left. I
yeah,
think
kind
it'll
of like
probably
what's been
be,
in the past with
pick
something
from
like heroes versus villains or champions versus contenders.
Yeah. So, looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Are they? I'm assuming because hold on, last
Yes.
year they did a final three, right? For Australian Survivor, are they going to be doing
It's
that this
hard to
year? Or are we
tell.
going back
No
to
one can
final
tell
two?
but production.
What
No one but production really knows. I kind of like it like this though.
Gotcha.
Like I really hope they do a mix of the two. Like
Yeah,
some seasons we have final three, some final two, because there's no way they can predict that then, and it leads to more dynamic gameplay. I find. Like it was unfortunate last season, like for Matt who was playing to win the final two game, and if that was a final two and that wasn't a jury remover, Liz gets voted out, Matt and Jerry go to the final two because there's no way George wins a challenge, and then Matt wins the game. But once it became a final three, Matt lost the game.
Yes, exactly. If the format for last season was a final two, I do think that we might have seen a different winner. But that's a good thing about
Yes.
Survivor is that they like to switch it up on us from season to season, keep everybody on their toes. So it does provide a good, mix of, results that we end up seeing with,
That's why I really
who's in the
do want to
finale
see
and
a
the
mix
winner.
of final twos and
So,
final threes, because like it will make for such more interesting gameplay. Because the players will have no idea they have to prepare for both scenarios, which will lead to more interesting gameplay.
absolutely. Or even if they switched it up, like for the, I'll use the Survivor US as an example. Say they still kept the final three, but scrapped the whole final four fire making. They could do so many different things. They could go back to just a regular vote and vote off the person in fourth. They could make it a final two and make the final four vote the last vote, and then that person, similar to Sequester, the one that gets voted out, gets to drag the last jury member with them. So it's like provides different dynamics. I think that in the future, hopefully, we will see some type of change in regards to the Final Four fire making with the US version. And then also with Australia, I would hope and expect to see good, dynamic between going back and forth between final three and final two, because I love how they keep them on their toes. They can't really plan ahead, and say we're going to go to the final three
Like let's
together,
also
because
be
they don't
honest
know
with
if there's going
something.
to be a
Australian
final three.
Survivor is
So,
47 days. Like it's a long game. Like if people are actually planning that far
yeah.
ahead, they must be real confident in their abilities. Like someone like George, I buy because like he's George. But anyone else, I could not buy it. That they honestly would think they get that far. Like I'm more of a person who I would kind of play day by day. Because again, Australian Survivor's a long game. It's not like US, which has gone to like 26 days, where everything's like fast paced, rush, advantages, advantages, advantages. No, we because of our long time, like because of our long day structure, we actually can get to know these people and we see them form actual relationships. Also, a hot take. I don't mind. I actually don't mind the Fire for Fire
And
making either. And look at Winners at War for a perfect example of why.
yes, in some situations we do get
Or
like a
Edge of
great
Extinction. Chris
final four
Underwood wins
fire
the game
making,
with Fire for Fire making,
to
knocking it by sending himself in against Rick Devens.
I still think that's one of the. I mean, I think that he knew in his head, like, this is the only move that I could do to win. So, I mean, it was kind of a no brainer. But to sit up there and give up your place in final three is a ballsy move. Ballsy move.
And I,
And
yeah.
he did that damn
I'm
thing.
not a
And a lot of
big
people
Chris
shitted on
hater.
Chris
I'm not
Underwood.
actually a big Chris hater. I kind of
Remember,
see it as he played the game that the season was built around. Like the Edge of Extinction was its own game. It was still a social game. All those people would be on the jury. So he took the time to make social relationships with them.
yeah, you can't penalize the format. Yeah, I agree. You can't penalize the man for the format, and it really solidified it for me how good it was when he just went onto the challenge, which is another
Yeah, the challenge
reality
is
TV
literally
show
in
with
our
strategy.
thumbnail. I have seen the
Last
challenge.
season, yeah, he went in last season as a newbie amongst the cast of basically, I would say 75 to 80% veterans, and he won. They threw him into the elimination challenge week after week, and he won. So I will never underestimate Chris Underwood, and I think that he played his cards the way that he was supposed to with the, like you said, with the season, how it was formatted. You can't really fault the guy for adapting to the season that
It's also the reason,
Survivor
yeah.
production
It's
set up for
because you can
them.
also
It
look
wasn't
at
his
Natalie
fault that
Anderson, the other person who's returned from the Edge of Extinction to go on to make Final Free. She stopped socializing with the people on the Edge, like Amber, Rob, Parvati, Yule. She stopped connecting with those people, and that's why they didn't vote for her.
yeah, yeah, you're 100% right, and that's one thing that I think Chris did very well when he was on the edge. He made people feel good. He provided for them. He, gave them an ear to for him to listen to what they had to say, and ultimately,
Yeah, but let's go back
won
to
their
the
respect.
Titans versus Rebels. So we're gonna go to this Titans tribe. So let's talk about some of the members of the Titans tribe, and I think there's no one we can better start talking about than Eden.
Oh my God, Eden! I am rooting for this guy. I love his outfits. I love the way he talks. I love the fact that my I was just telling someone this the other day. Growing up, people always said, "Oh, I wanted to be a doctor. I want to be this. I want to be a lawyer." I wanted to be a movie critic. I wanted to be the guy that got paid to go watch movies and TV. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
Or a food critic, but particularly movies. And the fact that this guy is in cinema and a movie buff like that's just so awesome to see someone like that on there. And I hope that he doesn't fizzle out
That is a
early and get kind of ahead
concern,
of himself.
especially when we see
But
like
right
that
now I
second
think he
tribal when he hears his name and he
yeah.
starts spiraling. That is a concern, definitely. I do like that he's seeing the way that the first vote is going. Like, okay, this is not gonna work for me because we kind of see it in like UK Survivor when a format is when a mindset is started by someone. In Survivor UK we see it as Lee. He's like, we're gonna keep the tribe strong, we're gonna vote out the weak people, which was always the women. Let's be honest, Lee was a sexist, whether he'll admit it or not. But and that was kind of the dark cloud that hung over that season, or at least over the Lenena tribe. So he saw that starting, like with the Jess vote, and he's like, no, this is not happening. We are going to flip the script. This is going to be a season about strategy and relationships. And, we'll keep some strength where needed.
Yeah, what I will say about Lee is I don't recall ever in Survivor history a jury member bold face lying on one of the finalists just so they'll lose. Like, he basically bold
I
face
mean, Lee
lied
really did not like
against
Chris. Like
Christopher
those two did
at the
not
end.
like each other,
So
especially
Christopher,
after their big blow up in episode 6.
yeah, those two are like oil and water. So but yeah, my fear for Eden going back to Eden, my fear is that because the way people respond when their name is thrown out is usually a telltale sign of how they're going to play the rest of the game. And watching him kind of scramble and, get in this paranoid, freak out kind of state in the second episode really kind of concerned me. But I do think that he has good connections with Mark and the other two women, the middle-aged mafia, what they're calling themselves. I do think that they're so good. I think that those will look out for each other, and it'll probably take getting closer to the end of the game for them to start turning on each
Viola
other.
and Valeria. So they've also got them. My only other thing that I will say about Eden, and this is the only thing I dislike, I really could do without all the puns. Like it's like I'm not a big I've always kind of been a person where I don't follow the norm. Like, I'm not a big fan of a lot of movies that a lot of people say are like the best. Like, people agree universally, like, what are some of the best movies? I will 100% guarantee I've never seen them or will despise them. So those puns I could really do without.
Yeah, this guy's a plethora of movie knowledge and quotes, and I don't foresee him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I could do without them, but yeah, let's get back. But let's get off this bandwagon. Let's also talk about Mark, who I honestly think is actually running the Titans tribe. Let's be honest. He's running that Titans tribe.
Yes, he sure is. He is very calm, cool, collected, very strategic. He knows what he wants, knows who he has to work with in order to make it happen. I love the fact the crucial moment in episode 1, I think, to them getting Frankie voted off was Mark going to the V's, Valeria and Viola, because I didn't predict that they were going to vote for Frankie. Those two girls, I did not see that coming.
Say, look, these guys are trying to vote you out. But I think what happened here, here's what I think.
But Mark did an incredible job at recognizing that these two girls, we have to make them feel secure, make them feel like they're with us, a part of us, they have a voice in our group, and I think that they did a really good job at keying them in and bringing them in, and those two votes were the votes that got her
Frankie
voted out.
went wrong was the fact that I think that while she liked them, she definitely liked Viola and Valeria. I don't think they felt very included. Cause I think let's talk now about Frankie, Jaden, and Nathan and where they went wrong with this. And it's kind of what we're going to talk about with the Rebels Cuddle Crew as well. But they were just so obvious about their alliance. Like, they're sitting in the water having chats, and they're like bringing like people like talking to people like Caroline and Kitty and being like, come with us, we will carry you to the end. That's not what people want to hear. They were just so obvious.
Yeah, definitely not a good way to gain allies for sure, because nobody wants to feel like they're a third or fourth wheel. Nobody wants to feel like they're at the bottom or being told what to do. And this is where I think that
it's also just the way they talk. Like, Nathan literally said that they are nobodies. But what actually happened was with the Frankie blindside, Nathan became the nobody. It was so funny watching that cocky smirk get wiped right off his face.
Yeah, oh my god, he was chewing that toothpick like, what just
My
happened
only
here?
thing that I'm... Sorry, go on.
But the good news is Frankie she can have as many people as she wants go get coffee for her now. She's not on the island. I thought it was so hilarious that she's like, yeah, I'm the girl that has somebody go get their coffee for me. Well, now you can have all the coffees you want, ma'am.
Oh, that was a ripper.
So I think that if they didn't, I think, I think if they didn't get her, then she would have eventually, rubbed some other
Yeah.
people the wrong way. Eventually, so it was more.
Yeah,
The
because
writing
the
was
other
on the wall
issue
for
that
her.
I
I don't
kind of
think. I
see, like,
don't
and
think
this is,
that.
look, this is a thing in Australian Survivor in general. It's just that the thing I didn't like is it's another woman that got booted first. I would have loved to see Eden take a real swing and take out Nathan. That would have been, but I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too. But that would have been the perfect first
Yeah,
boot.
yeah, absolutely. I I think that they, kind of went in regards to Nathan is a quintessential member to the tribe
Yeah,
as far as
that is the
challenges are
vibe we do
concerned.
get. I do get it,
Um,
but again, I do get it. It's just a little bit disappointing. But you know what? It was still a really solid first blind side. Like I don't remember in Australian Survivor when we had a blind side for the first vote.
yeah, it was super electric to watch. Funny to see Nathan, kind of basically just eat his words and think that he
It
was
was
running the
Revenge of the
tribe, but in all
Nerds.
reality, he wasn't. It was Revenge of the Nerds. The underdogs in the Titans squad per se were the ones that got the better of the first vote, and I loved it, and it was a very very good first episode. The tribal was electric. Introducing the players was very good. We got a good kind of scope of where everybody's at, where they're from, where they lie, and I
Yeah.
think we'll get more of that as time goes on. But
Let's also
they did
talk
very
quickly
well with
about
this
that
first
first
episode.
immunity challenge as well as the Winners' Cup.
Oh, I would love to talk about this because I think that this was an absolutely amazing move by the Rebels to kind of let Kelly take the reins in the part of the challenge where they had to, roll the ball down the ramp to knock over
Yeah.
the sticks that were down there. I loved it because they basically said, "Here you go. You're in the
Because let's be
driver's
honest,
seat.
Kelly is the loudest member
You
of the Rebels tribe. And like, and look, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
I think they all recognize that. Yeah, I think they all recognize that and let her take the reins. And you know what? If they would have lost, she probably would have gotten the blame and maybe booted. But that girl did her damn thing. She went out there and smoked those Titans, got the balls down the ramp, and
Can we also talk about the fact that the Can we also talk about the fact the
kudos to
Titans
the
literally
Rebels.
forgot their ball and then put their 5 strongest guys at the part of the challenge that required no physical strength whatsoever?
I was just as shocked as you because you'd think that these strong leader types would kind of, know what they're doing or, have a plan set in place, but they were just as
Like I was
disorganized as
literally
they
watching
were
this
in the
with my
first reward
mother, and
challenge.
she was
So,
sitting there
you
like,
know,
"What are they doing?" Because it's kind of the truth. What were they doing other than Jaden, who's like a
it was.
powerhouse when it comes to physical strength? It was all the women. And I'm not saying anything like the women are weaker than the men, because there's plenty of strong women on this tribe. Valeria, I meant Viola. Sorry. Um, was also really strong as well. Like those two are really strong. I'm not discounting any of the other women either. But why would they have put all of their big boys, other than like the tribe horse Jaden, on the part of the challenge of no physical strength? And then of course they literally forget the ball at the very first station.
Yeah. super puzzling to me, kind of shocking.
It's basically
It's
as what
almost
Jonathan
like
said. No one wants to
they
do the grunt work.
unintentionally botched the. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. They don't have anybody on the Titans tribe that's really emerged yet. That's like wants to get down and gritty, and have that rebel mentality. And I think that the winner of the game
Can do both.
is going to be somebody
Like
that
what we saw with
can
last season
embody
with
both.
Liz. She
Yes,
literally said
embody
that she
both.
was she could be a hero while wearing a glittery purple villain's cape.
Absolutely, and we see exactly where it got her. She won the game. So I think that in this season, it's going to be somebody who has the
Can take charge
rebel
and be a
mentality,
leader
but
like a
also
Titan.
can exert leadership. And yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think that having that duality is going to be something
Let's also now
to
get
look
into
for
episode
going
2 and
forward.
begin talking. Let's talk about Jess and what the fuck happened there. Mark is a genius, manipulating Jess, to think that she was. Oh my god.
I think they did a great job. Yeah, she went from basically flipping the vote, and
But
well,
yeah, but
he wasn't
Mark
the one
made
that
her
really
think that
flipped
she
the
did
vote. It was
though, and
Mark
that
and
was a
Eden, but she
genius
thought
move.
she
Because then he looks like he has no blood on his hands.
absolute. And I think this was a great move for them, because it showed the strong guys, Nathan and Jaden,
Winner.
and what's the other
Winner.
guy's name? Willa or Willet? Yeah, it showed them that like, hey, we are after you. It's nothing personal with Frankie. Like we're happy to do just like anybody else. And I think that this
Minus one problem,
was a great
though.
move because
There's
it
one
brought.
problem with what you just said. Nathan was literally the split vote. If he wasn't pissed off before, he certainly is going to be now. Because even Winner votes for Nathan in that split.
Yeah, and I don't know, and you know what? That split vote all came
Panicking.
from Eden.
Like we see kind of two examples of this: Eden panicking and then Kelly at the Rebels Tribal Council. Kelly actually handled it better though, and when you look at Kelly, you would not think that she could handle that as well as she did. But,
Yeah, oh, I know. You would think that she would be, far worse.
but yeah, like what Eden
like
does doesn't make any
as opposed
sense.
to Eden, but
Like, I mean, I get that he's worried because like there's not like because like we hear on Talking Tribal from Chrissy that there's no bigger freak out than when you first hear your name being thrown around. But I think that to be a good survivor player, you need to know how to handle it. And Eden doesn't seem to. Maybe now he's got that first one under his belt, maybe it will improve.
Yeah, we will see going forward. I think that if the Titans would have had to go to tribal council for a third time in a row, I would have loved to have seen what happened, but he very much surprised me with how scrambly he was in that second
I definitely
episode.
think that if the Titans had gone to a third tribal, I maybe see them cutting someone like a Jaden or a Nathan at that point. Because, we're a few. Like, I know that they're on a losing streak, but, like, there are a few challenges in, like, we could get to a tribe swap. Like, our tribe swap is usually around episode 7, 8, or 9. We're at episode 3. It may be a little bit early to be sacrificing some of that strength. However, there's no other options. They have that strong 7 of theirs, so they have to take out Winna, Jaden, or Nathan. Actually, and Winna has an idol.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and let's talk about that.
No, that is episode 2. He finds the idol in episode 3, but he gets the clue in episode 2. And what the hell was that clue
Right,
in the
right, right, right.
bananas?
And
Like,
the
what the hell was that? That could have been seriously dangerous.
I laughed. Yeah, my man almost chipped his tooth on the immunity clue in that banana. That was a very
Can we
odd
also
and
talk about like
interesting
the fact
place
that
for them
Winna
to
is a
hide it for sure.
professional eater on Survivor, or he's a speed eater, whatever.
Yeah, he's also got like a lot of subscribers on TikTok. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays going forward. I actually like him for the end game. I think that Jaden, his archetype screams to me somebody who is a post-merge boot. Like
I
right
see,
after merge, they get rid of the strong, players,
here's
but
yeah, it's very interesting. Like, also,
but
can we
we'll
talk
see.
about that reward challenge with the tug of war?
Oh my goodness, that was pretty good. The matchups that they had, and my favorite one was the one. It was Eden and
Charles.
who's the lawyer's
Charles.
name?
It's
Matthew
Charles.
with the glasses, and I think it was Charles. That's it. And on the other side, it was Garrick and Tobias, maybe. I don't. Well, it was one of them two, but that matchup was so interesting, and I thought that the person that played the best in that challenge was Valeria. She had a very good strategy, was staying seated and waiting out the other side until they were gassed out before making their push. And I thought that was so smart.
I'm loving Valeria and Viola in these first few episodes. Like, I want to see them go. Like, they could be the Titans versus Rebels Chanela, like the iconic girl duo, like the iconic girl duo. Because I
They
don't think I've.
certainly could.
Because I don't think I've liked.
Valeria is.
Yeah. I don't think I've
Valeria's
liked a
my
girls
winner
duo
pick,
more
so.
since Shawnee and Fenella in Champions vs. Contenders. I have not liked a girl duo this much since then.
Yeah, they're both very likable. So I think it'll be cool to see going forward how they do. I chose Valeria as my winner pick for this season. So hopefully she does right.
Like, she was the one that really stood out. She stood out
Great
to
pick.
me
I
when they were
love
doing the
Kirby.
casting, and it may be because of her name, because it's the name of an iconic video game character. But there's something about her that stands out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. She gives me a more mild version of Sarah
Yeah,
Messina
she kind of
from the
does,
US
doesn't
version,
she?
who
She
won the
kind of
game on
does,
Game
doesn't
Changers.
she?
Yeah, she's very. Yeah, she does. She's very good at being in the know with everybody. I think she did a great job at.
Oh, we'll certainly be talking about that. We'll certainly be talking
that
about that.
she
But let's go on to the immunity
Yeah, she did a.
challenge.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was
We'll
the
go into the
biggest.
episode 2 immunity challenge. We'll talk
Okay,
episode
yeah,
3 after
perfect.
this, but let's talk about the immunity challenge. Because I actually forgot what this immunity challenge was. Compared to one in Free, episode 2 is a bit forgettable.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you actually remember what this immunity challenge was? Because I completely forgot.
Hold on, let me think. What was it? It wasn't them going over that cage.
That was a reward challenge of episode
Titans
3.
I think that was episode 3. I
I
honestly don't remember.
Jeez, this is gonna bug me now. What was it? This is gonna bug me. This is gonna bug me.
Well, Well, we know that the rebels
Hang
won
on.
it.
Oh, hang on. I found what it is.
I
I found
honestly
what it
forget
is on
what
the
it was
Wikipedia
too,
page.
to be honest with you.
Tribes race through an obstacle course and free coconuts. Oh, that's right. It's like the one where like they're at the end they're holding up the baskets. They have to go through on that thing to get coconuts.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it looked like the Titans
But
had that in
yeah,
the bag.
Alex and
Nathan was
Tobias held
slinging
on
those
longer than
coconuts.
Viola
Ferris
and
was over there
Jaden.
sweating. Yeah. Oh man, I was shocked because their net was like down way past the Titans
Yeah.
net because
But
Nathan was just
they
sinking
dug
coconut
deep
after
though because
coconut,
like they
and
saw
then
the Titans being into struggle and I
yeah,
think that gave the Rebels that big push that they needed to just hang on just that little bit longer.
yeah, absolutely, and yeah, they pulled it out. I gotta give big props to. I love Ferris. I think that he is going to be a very
Here's
dangerous
my
player
thing
in
with
this game,
yeah.
along with
Here's
Kirby
my thing with Ferris. He
from the
literally
Rebels
says he
tribe. I
wants to
think.
finish what George never could do. And if he's basing his game off of George, that's going to go one of two ways. He is either going to get to the end or he's going to get voted out very soon.
Yeah, we'll see. I have high hopes for him, though. I think that him and Kirby are the two people that I would select from the Rebels
So
to make a
now that
deep
we've
run
talked,
this
let's
year.
talk episode 3 and let's finally get to talking a bit about the Rebels. We haven't talked much about the Rebels because obviously these first two episodes are very heavily focused on the Titans.
Yeah.
Let's start, and we cannot start the Rebels without talking about Kelly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What did they call
Yes,
her?
I think that
The
is.
crazy psychiatrist
I
or
love Kelly.
crazy
She is so
therapist?
entertaining. I love that Kelly's on this season. Like, she would definitely grate on someone's nerves, but I personally
She
think I'd
has.
get along
She.
really well with Kelly because I'm a bit of an introvert myself, and I need someone to come to me to start a conversation. Kelly would be that person, and I would bond with her because, again, I bond very well with older women given my profession. So I honestly would get along really well with Kelly. So I really hope
Yeah.
she makes a deep run. It's not likely, but
Absolutely.
I think if Kelly can skate by,
I
I
can.
think she makes a deep. She could literally be the Chrissy. Like Chrissy knew nothing about Survivor in Blood versus Water, but and like she kind of seemed to be like she like I and she kind of seemed like a bit nutty. Like they literally called her cracked Chrissy. So I think Kelly could literally pull a Chrissy and make it to a final tribal council.
I think that it would be super wise of anybody in the Rebels tribe to befriend her and make her feel like she's their number one because I think that she's somebody great to have on your side. She's a fun time. She's a ball of energy, and in a lot of senses,
She
she's a
is.
great shield for you
No
because
one is gonna
if
vote
say
any of them
you
out before Kelly, because Kelly
are a
in a
quiet
swap,
person.
Kelly is the person that would annoy those Titans so much. They'll be like, "Screw this old broad, let's get rid of her."
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It's
then
like a
another
great
good thing
buffer
Kelly
to
could be good
have
for is
because
if
like
she
it's
annoys
almost
people
like
enough, and
you.
the rebels have an idol. Like, let's say the rebels are in a bad swap situation. Literally, Kelly annoys everyone. The Titans put their votes on her. If one of the rebels had an idol, they could literally play the idol on Kelly and vote out a rebel, a Titan.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see. I love Kelly. I don't want her to leave. I
The
know that
Cuddle
she
Crew.
rubs a few of the cuddle crew the wrong way. Yeah, those guys. They're like, man, they were cozying up day one. Like they had been
And
living
Alex has a
together forever. I was
girlfriend
like,
as
what
well.
the heck?
And he's cuddling up to PETA. So, I don't know what
Yeah,
you're up
it's
to, Alex, but I would expect maybe, I see a breakup in your future.
yeah, man. Like, what are you doing out there? I know you want to stay warm, but at what cost?
Oh, God.
especially didn't they won
They
they
did.
won fire the very first episode.
They did.
So it's like, yeah, so it's like they didn't really, but I think that I hope that she stays around. It's going to be interesting to see who kind of gets in good with her, and how the Rebels tribe kind of forges forward with with what happened. It's crazy because we see this Rebels tribe who is just pretty much dominating the Titans for the first 2 episodes, and then we get that one person, which we do every season.
Why
don't we throw a challenge?
This
Why
was
don't we
literally
lose?
talked about on Talking
I would
Tribal, that throwing a challenge is always a risk. And the problem I have with throwing challenges is it always leads to a negative downfall. We see it in Pearl Islands with the Drake tribe. They throw a challenge to get rid of Burden. Next thing you know, they're losing all the time. Zapatera and Redemption Island throw a challenge to put out Russell. What do you know? They're losing all the time. Even Henry in 2017, he threw a challenge to get rid of Sam, and even though it didn't negatively affect him, it still negatively affected the Asunga tribe, who only won, I think, 2 immunity challenges after that.
Yeah, to anybody listening to this, if you are cast for Survivor,
or at least do it good like what George did. Or at least do it well like George and Shawnee did. They had power, and like it was that was also closer to a merge, so it wouldn't have mattered all that much. And like they had hostages whose heads they were willing to cut off.
Yeah,
that was the only
absolutely.
good example.
I think in that case,
that was one of the only good examples.
Yeah, but
it's a bad idea, and especially this early. Like, it's episode 3. What are you doing? You are dominating.
Yeah.
Why? And even then, they nearly won when they were trying to throw the challenge. They still nearly won. Titans, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's. I know. That was.
They were
crazy,
1
right?
block away from winning.
They literally were trying to lose, and the Titans almost lost it on that puzzle, and that would have been 3 in a row for them. And honestly, I think that the Rebels should have tried to win, because if they would have continued with that momentum,
for the Titans to come back from that, yes.
Going into merge.
And let's also talk about another fact that Garrick literally sniffed it out. As soon as they threw it, Garrick is like, hang on, what's going on here?
Oh.
We literally see it during the challenge. He's looking over like, what are they doing?
That guy. Yeah, honestly, Garrick is sharp. I think a lot of people underestimated him and kind of poked fun at him from his intro package from the first episode, that he was, a loss prevention officer, and kind of looked at as like a mall cop, quote unquote. But that guy's sharp. He knows what he's doing, and look out for good things from Garrick in the future, because I think that guy is way more intelligent than people give him credit for, and it'll be interesting to see how he
100%.
moves forward in the game.
About the fact that Peeta went home with an idol in her pocket. So this is basically a carbon copy. This is basically a carbon copy of the first Tribal Council. Like a cocky male, this case Alex, saying that they're excited to go to Tribal Council. Exactly the same thing Nathan said. They think they have majority when in fact they have 3, maybe 4 votes. And it's even better in the Rebels case, because there's a challenge throw and an idol as well. How did this go so wrong?
Yeah, they voted her out with an idol in her pocket. It couldn't have, as far as getting out a threat and somebody that has an advantage. They did an absolutely great job, and I will always say this. I've said it every season. The first vote.
You don't know the dynamics of the tribe as well. Like, Tribal Council is where you draw the battle lines.
Yeah,
but they hadn't done that yet, so to throw that first challenge,
Yes, so I would never recommend
I just
splitting a
recommend
vote
don't
at
throw
the
the
first
first
tribal
challenge in
council because
general.
you do
Like
not know where anyone's head at.
you don't know where the lines and the sand goes. So just don't throw the first challenge in general, let alone split the vote. Just don't throw the challenge.
Yeah, they did. They literally did back-to-back blunders, like two no-nos. They threw the challenge and then they split the first vote when lines have not been forged yet. You know, alliances are formed at tribal through voting. So it's like you're telling these people to split votes, but you've never seen them vote before. So like, how could you even trust that? And I think that Kirby did a great job at picking up on the fact that they were planning to split votes and she didn't want them to come back to camp and not trust her. So she threw her vote with the people that were splitting. Tobias,
Alex, Sarah, and Peter.
Who's the other one? Alex. Yeah, so I think that she's going to be in a great spot when they come back for episode 4 in terms of she basically is in good with everybody now.
I can see this going one of two ways because it is risky. Because in the preview I saw, thanks to watching Talking Tribal, Garrick is suspicious because the numbers don't add up. So I think he's gonna realize someone's not voting the way they should have. I think Kirby would have been better off if she had told people maybe the plan to kind of try and get information from the other side that she was going to vote with them. But that's in itself is a risk. So this can go one of two ways. It's either going to go really well for Kirby, or she's going to get voted out in one of the next 3 episodes. There's two ways of this going.
Yeah, I totally agree. I assumed that if you were gonna do something like that, you go to Ferris and Garrick and say, "Hey, listen, we need somebody to play double agent with the other side. I'm gonna vote with them this time just so I can keep getting information. But I'm 100% with you guys, and I want Petra or Peta to go." And that's all really she had to do. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, once we come back, if Garrick has suspicions of her.
I don't know if he's suspicious of her exactly.
That guy's smart. So
I don't think she's suspicious of her
him.
exactly, but he's sus on the numbers. I don't think he's gonna know who did it exactly, but he's gonna be on the hunt. And I don't think a Garrick on the hunt is something any of us. And I wouldn't want him on my tail. I'll tell you that much.
Heck no, that guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, we'll see. He's got great game instinct. So I think that a lot of people should look out for Garrick because he. We saw last season Gary made it all the way to Final 3.
Yeah, he did.
Gary made it all the way.
Like, don't underestimate the old guy.
So, yeah, no, not at all. Because you'll blink and then Garrick will be sitting at the end, and everyone will be wondering how the heck it happened.
Taking more of an active role than what Jerry did. Because Jerry kind of rode the coattails of Matt and George. I mean, George did say that he viewed Jerry as his advisor. Like, he was the one that was bringing plans to Jerry as an advisor. Kind of Jerry was a second opinion to George. And then yeah. So I think George did genuinely view Jerry as an advisor and kind of not quite a partner. I think George's partner was more Liz. Up until it was time to get rid of her, Liz was George's partner. Jerry was more an advisor.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. But I see
a more active game.
A voice in this game, which
I definitely agree with that. Let's also talk about the Cuddle Crew and where they went wrong. Because like we talked about it for the Titans, and let's talk about with the Rebels. Where did the Cuddle Crew go wrong? Pretty much the exact same way. They were very obvious of who they of that they were sticking together, and the way that they talked to people was like, "Come aboard, we're a majority." You're not a majority. You're 4 votes, four of 12. Sure, you only need two more, but you're not a majority.
Yep, another perfect example of people that are getting too confident and then making others feel inferior. Nobody wants to feel like they're being strung along.
Unless your name is Matt. Unless your name is Matt Sharp.
So when you're saying, "Oh, come
Unless
with
your
us,
name is
we're the
Matt Sharp.
majority, we're the power," yeah, like, yeah. So it's like you don't want to make people feel like that, especially right off the bat,
Like there's
because
just
they will
so
not trust
much
you.
going. Like I think this is because it's the first rookie season we've had since Brains versus Braun, and we're really seeing those rookie mistakes happen. Like I've always said this as well. Like I've literally said this to you. The minute
Yeah.
you're comfortable in Survivor, that's when you're gone.
Yeah, you want to maintain a fine line between
Cockiness.
comfortability and, like, you don't want to be too comfortable, but you don't want to be extremely paranoid like Eden was in episode 2. You want to have a nice, calm, cool demeanor, similar to Mark.
Yeah,
I think
and
Mark is doing
again,
a very good job on the
Kelly as
Titans
well.
side,
Kelly
and
kept her cool for the most part. I mean, like she was playing up the fact that she knew she was going home. She was kind of playing that up.
yeah, I think Kelly did she did much better than I anticipated once she heard her name with handling that. So definitely kudos to her. I think that in episode 3 she was kind of like the big winner for the episode because everybody kind of saw her and the audience saw her as
Yeah, that was
the first
definitely what
boot
I
of the
thought.
Rebels,
That
but
was my first
that did not
impression. But
happen.
I did say this: if Kelly's our first Rebels boot, then damn it, at least she's an entertaining one, kind of like an Angeli from last season.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was nice to see her survive. Nice to see, because in Survivor history, it's usually, the strong, more
I know,
attractive
and
group
that's
that
something
gets
that
their
bugs
way
me
in the early
so
game.
much.
But
It bugs me so. Even in the Brains
yeah,
tribe,
and
it was the cool kids that were kind of like the cool quote unquote strong people who were running the tribe, who were like, because like you literally see it in their first movie, they're trying to get rid of Way because they want to vote on a strength basis. But George is like, hang on a second, we're the Brains tribe. We're not meant to focus on physical strength. We're strategists. Right, I'm not letting this happen. I'm fixing this up.
yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that one. So it'll be interesting to see, going
It's
forward
definitely very
how
like we
things
have
pan out
a
for
lot of
sure.
variety in our age grouping. Like there's a lot of kind of quote unquote older people this season.
Yeah, yeah, and I honestly I think that those people are going to be the people that carry this season. I think that they've done a good job at, especially in the first episode, the Titans. They did a good job at changing the power dynamic. Eden and Mark kind of recognized right away that the strong, attractive people are going to run this tribe unless we take a stance now. And they flipped it around, and the rebels kind of did the same thing. They had the cuddle crew, the strong, attractive crew, kind of try to dole out orders. Their first tribal, and the rebels crew did a good job at flipping it around. And
It was Revenge of the
it'll
Nerds
be
on
interesting.
both tribes.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's what I love about this season so far is it's not easily predictable because like from the casual viewer watching, you would have thought, hey, Jess is gone episode 1, and Kelly's gone episode 3. But neither of those things happened. At least in the episode in which
Jess
it
did
was
end up
portrayed,
going
neither
right
of those
after
things happened.
Frankie, but like,
So,
let's be honest, Jess kind of did that to herself.
Yeah, next episode. But they did a good job. The editing team did a good job at making us kind of follow this narrative or story that the strong, attractive people were going to get their way, and it was very satisfying at Tribal Council to watch Frankie get her torch snuffed, and then
it was like icing on the cake with Peeta leaving with an idol in her pocket after throwing away the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, karma came back full circle. So, very excited
this
for
looks to be
this
a
season.
fantastic season. There are a lot of people who are really worried that after Heroes versus Villains, which is an award-winning season, mind you, that this is going to be a dud in comparison. Kind of like what a lot of people say Blood versus Water was after like something like Brands versus Brawn, or Champions versus Contenders after 2017. I mean, I don't agree with that fact personally, but a lot of people seem to. But like, this is not a dud.
Right. Well, I definitely
This is
think
not a
season
dud
is not gonna
season.
be a
This
dud
season,
the way that it
these
started,
people
so.
came to play. I don't think we've had a strategic season like this since 2017.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I want to ask you, Cass, before we kind of wrap up, do you have a winner's prediction for this season, or do you think it'll be a Rebel or Titan? What's kind of your predictions as far
I
as
really
the
want
end
to
game
root for
goes?
Kirby. As I mentioned before, there's something about Kirby that gets me excited. I want to see more of what she does. And even if she may, and again, it's kind of 50-50, she could end up in a bad spot in this upcoming week, or she's going to be square in the majority.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of what's going to happen. So I
Yeah,
see Kirby as my winner's pick for the Rebels. For the Titans, it's so hard. But I don't know. I like you said, Valeria is really sticking out. Valeria sticks out as kind of like a winner's pick because I can see Eden making it far, but I wouldn't say he's my winner's pick. I enjoyed him these first couple of episodes, other than the movie puns, but I don't want to see him win. Kind of same with Mark. I kind of don't want to see Mark win the game. Like maybe this is my bias because I always root for the women more than I do the men, but I think Valeria and Viola, because like those two are a solid block of two. Those two are always going to vote together. As I said, kind of like a Shawnee and a Fenella. When you have one, you're going to have the other. And they're going to have each other's back.
Yes. I can totally see those two team. The other strong pair that I see on the other side of things, the Rebels tribe. I think that Ferris and Garrick are going to be a duo that is somebody to look out for. So if those two sets of groups can get together, I think that in a world we see like a Valeria, Ferris and Garrick final 3, and then Viola maybe was the final 4 vote out. That we will see, maybe a women winner, Valeria. So that's my winner's pick this
I'm
season
going to
is
go with Valeria
Valeria.
as well for the Titans and Kirby for the Rebels. I can't tell which one of them I want to win. I can't tell who I want to win more
From
yet,
the Rebels,
though. I have to see more.
From the Rebels, I'm going to go with Ferris, just because, like you said, it's going to be highly volatile. He's either going to get targeted and voted out for playing too much like George, or he's going to make a very deep run. So
yeah, this will be very interesting. This should be very interesting. Now, before we wrap up, I want to have a little bit of fun in our last segment. I am going to ask you five
Sure.
Australian Survivor related questions, and I want you to and you're gonna have to answer them correctly.
Oh, fun, fun. All right. Well, let me see if I can dive into my plethora of Survivor knowledge
All
in my
right.
head. We'll
Now these are gonna
see
be
how it goes.
quotes because I find this fun. So here's our first question. What did
Okay.
Luke say in his first voting confessional when they were when at the Joan vote?
Luke,
Yes.
Luke, the
Yes.
King of the Jungle. Luke Taki. Is that who? Oh my goodness, that's man. He's had. I've watched that guy on so much reality TV. He's been on Big Brother. He's been on The Traitors.
Twice.
He's been on Survivor.
But yes, this is going all the way back to 2017 to that first tribal council where Joan gets voted out. What did Luke turn to the tribe and say when he was in the voting confessional?
I don't remember what he said. I remember him doing like a
That was later
Pinocchio
on. That was at the Henry vote.
nose
But he
thing in
said,
regards to
"Oi, how do you spell Henry?"
Ah,
That was always
that's right. Okay.
that cracks me up every time.
How do you
All
spell
right.
Henry?
Okay. Oh,
Luke Taki. He is
he
definitely
definitely
been
was.
entertaining
Okay.
on TV. That's
You
for
know,
sure.
screw the quotes. I'm gonna ask another question. What are the free names of all of Shawnee's alliances? The one from Champions vs Contenders, the one from All Stars, and the one from Heroes vs Villains.
Okay, so well, I know the one with Fenella
Yes.
was Chanela, right? Okay, so that's one. The she was the Spice Girls
Yes.
with George and Liz, right? Or if you're just referring
I
to
would have
her and
accepted
Liz,
either answer,
it
but
was the
yes, you are
Chiz,
right.
right? All right, and then one,
Yes, that
the
is
Little
it.
Rascals is coming
That
to
is it. It
mind.
was
It was
her, Nick,
her.
and
That was like
Harry.
her and Nick.
Yes. Yes.
Harry, that's the other. I couldn't think of the other
That.
person, and then I think that she had a alliance with Shane and Sean
Oh,
at
I
one
didn't get
point
that.
called
Again, I didn't finish
but
Champions versus Contenders
that
after
one was
Fenella got voted out, so I didn't know about that one until the deep dive. But yes. Oh god, that.
yeah. So yeah, Spice Girls, Little Rascals, Chanela,
Oh
and the
yes,
Chiz were the
Chanela is the
memorable
most
ones that I
iconic
remember.
though. Like we will never forget her first one with Fenella.
Of course. Of course. I loved both of them to
Okay, so
pieces.
we'll get the third question now. This is I'm probably gonna cheat you because this is a really easy question.
Okay.
Who has played the most days of Australian Survivor?
David, right?
No,
Golden
I think
God?
it is. No, no, I think it's actually
Or
Shawnee.
no. Is it? Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. It was David up until a certain point, and then who who's the one that
Sharn,
finished
yes, but Shawnee has played
second? Sean?
124 days. George holds the
Wow.
title.
Shawnee. Okay. You know what?
I
I didn't
think
really
Sharn
factor in
has the
last.
most days consecutive without being voted out. And I think George is just behind her.
That makes sense. Gotcha. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, so yeah, Shawnee's
Don't
number
quote
one
me on
for
the Shawn
sure.
and
I
George
I
thing though,
didn't
because I'm not
factor in last.
100% certain.
Uh,
But yes.
Gotcha.
Oh
All right.
god, love Shawnee, love the Sean tent.
Yeah, she was meant for TV. She's a true
And let's be honest, if they
entertainer,
ever invite
and
Shawnee back for a
love
fourth
to see
time,
her
she
on the
she would
island.
probably accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. I and if you're listening, Shawnee, congratulations. I heard that you are having
Yes,
a daughter, just had a baby
congratulations.
recently.
Congratulations
So
to us at the
congrats to
Forecast
you. I think
Reality
it's awesome.
Reviews. Love your work, Shawnee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure
Maybe not
do.
too
We
soon,
hope to see you
though.
back soon.
Yes, okay, two
Yeah,
more
maybe not too
questions.
soon.
Two more questions. Okay,
All
now,
right.
which couple lasted the longest on Blood versus Water?
Ooh, good question. That is tricky. Water versus water. I am gonna just guess because I don't. I know the voting history, but I don't remember which pair lasted the longest. Um. Hmm, pair. Let's say it wasn't Mark. What was it? Mark and
Yes, it actually was.
uh Sam.
Sam was voted out the final seven.
Ah, all right. Well,
Yeah,
I
Sam
mean,
was voted out at
that was a
final
pure
seven.
guess.
Or
Yes, I
final eight.
remember
It's one of
Sam.
those two. Don't quote me.
Ah,
And we're gonna.
gotcha. Yeah, I remember that he. I remember Mark winning, obviously, and I didn't know if Sam went uh
It's one of those free,
seventh or eighth or
definitely.
ninth, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
definitely
was
one
that
of
was my
those
best guess.
free,
So.
but I don't remember which one. And then the final
Lucky
one,
to.
and this should be definitely the easiest one. What was Shawnee and Fenella's nickname for Brian
Okay.
Lake? Grubby.
Oh, was it
It
Poopy?
was Grubby.
Grubby, that's it.
It
Oh
was
my god,
Grubby.
I knew it was something like that. Poopy.
So
I'm
you
so
got
silly.
3 out of
Grubby, that's
5,
it.
which is a medium. Which
Yeah.
that medium. So you know what you win? Fuck all. Now sit
I know
down.
what I won. All right. Well, hopefully next time I could get all five. I feel like I had the instincts to get the answers right. I just had to, polish up my
Yeah, well, I
Australian
know. Well, the
Survivor
reason why
history
I
a
asked
little
with the
bit.
Luke one because I'd
There's
known
so
you'd
much.
recently rewatched 2017.
Yeah, yeah. I remember Luke's all his votes and everything. I completely blanked out on the how do you spell Henry
Yeah,
thing.
when
I
he was
remember the
voting for Henry,
Pinocchio
but he's like,
gesture.
yeah,
But yeah,
tonight I'm voting
what
Peter.
an iconic
Ooh, I'm a real
moment.
boy.
Like what an iconic moment. How do you
Like
spell
Luke made
Henry?
a real
Like
impression in
oh
in his
man.
first season, especially that first one where he's like, "You can't be the boss. I'm the boss." And
Yeah,
his
right?
friendship with
King of the jungle,
Jericho is
baby.
like the most, is like the best thing that came out of that season. Like, who wouldn't want a friend like Jericho?
Yeah. Right? Like what a solid person. But yeah, this was great, Cass. Oh my God, I've had such a great time chatting with you this evening. I very rarely get to talk about Survivor so in depth with anybody. So I really am looking forward to this season, this series with
Yep.
you, and everything to come with regards to the podcast, and just kind of analyzing Australian Survivor and many other
Yeah, we'll definitely have
reality
to try and find some other
endeavors.
shows to review in Australian Survivor's downtime. I have a few ideas, but nothing set in stone yet. But yeah, this has been a great chat. I've really had fun talking this week of Titans versus Rebels with you. I think we're in for a solid season.
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to it. I very much appreciate you having me on this evening. And yeah, we'll chat next week about the 3 episodes that are going to be dropping this week. I got 4 hungry kitties that are looking at me to, feed them. So I'm gonna get on my cat dad duties for the rest of the night. And
Yep, this
yeah,
has been
this has been
been
great.
amazing. So I'm now gonna have to so I'm gonna close this up, and then I am going to have to edit this to get rid of that minute of silence we had in the middle of this. Or maybe I'll just leave it in minimum effort for this.
There you go. It's a,
Yeah.
sometimes
Minimum
silence isn't the
effort.
worst thing. So, but yeah, overall, this has been fantastic.
Minimum effort.
So, there you go. All right. Well, yeah, it was great
No,
chatting. Did
this
you
will
have
be all.
anything
I
else
will
on this
talk to you
evening,
next
Cass?
week as we review the next 3 episodes of Titans versus Rebels. So that will be all for the very first episode of the Forecast Reality Reviews. It has been great. Thanks for joining me, Rich.
Absolutely. Again, I'm Richie Goodcat, and signing off.
Chat
Thank
again
you
next
again,
week,
Cass.
and
We'll
farewell
chat
to
again
all of
next
our
week.
viewers. Goodbye,
All
everyone.
right. Goodbye, guys.